Hello VC, another fat bearded man talking about records here. I thought I would get on board with this Vinyl Tag 2017 that's kind of going around at the moment. I kind of like the sound of these questions, and it gives me an opportunity to perhaps show some records that normally I wouldn't perhaps show. So I think this was it AudiophileLaws that started this, so kudos to him for starting that. So I'm going to try and keep it as short as I can. So the first question, how many albums do I own? I did a quick kind of guesstimation. Behind me there's probably somewhere between 1,600 to 1,800. I don't really know exactly. And then shed loads of CDs as well, and quite a few tapes. Okay, so what's my record player? Now I had to go and find this out. I know the manufacturer, but I didn't know what model number. So let me get this right. It is a NAD C556. That is a NAD C556. Not a 557 or a 555, the 556. I'm sure you know that model. Okay. How old was I when I started collecting? I think much like I've heard other people say, it's kind of difficult because yes, I bought records back when I was 10, 11, something like that, I think. And to say I was a collector, I don't think you could say I was a collector. I mean, I don't actually think of myself as a collector these days. I'm a music listener. It just so happens that I like to listen to lots of music, and I gather records to listen to. It's a kind of a byproduct that it ends up as a collection. So when was I first started? I mean, let's say I was 11. And seriously, I suppose I didn't start really collecting them until I was in my teens. Okay. What is the oldest record that I own? I've got some 78s kicking around. We've got an old gramophone that's bust at the moment. We need to get that fixed. But there are a number of 78s, so they're probably the oldest records technically. But let's go with an LP. And this is Stan Kenton's Milestones, and this was my dad's record. My dad was a huge fan of Stan Kenton. I think he just liked the song Peanut Vendor, which is on here. There he is. There's the Peanut Vendor. I think you can see him there. Can you see him? Oh, there. And this is from 1954. So that's the earliest. I think that's correct. I've had a look. I've had to look it up because it doesn't actually say on the record. It might be later, but hell, I don't know. So yeah, Stan Kenton. I'm going to put these. There we go. Okay, what is the first record I ever got? Now this is a record. I was talking to James Griffiths about this because he showed a similar record at Christmas by Jeff Love and his orchestra. His was his sci-fi, I think, tunes. Mine is superheroes. So Jeff Love and his orchestra, themes for superheroes. And you can tell it's mine because it's got my name. Look at that. It's got its name written on the front there. Yeah, so the secondary market's not going to go very well for this one. So this is great. It's got all the songs, all the tunes you want. Superman, Incredible Hulk, if you want to be sad. That's the saddest music in the world. Bionic Woman, Spider-Man, Blake 7, Batman, Wonder Woman. Yeah. And my mother complains about the number of comics I got. It's her own bloody fault. This was bought for me. I don't think you can go back after sort of experiencing the thrill of the superhero theme. So that was the first record I probably got given. Okay, the next one is what's the first record I bought with my own money? Now, I bought two records on the same day at W.H. Smith's at Wood Green Shopping Centre, and I showed one which was, I'm not going to say what it was. If you want to know what it was, go and have a look at one of my my older videos. Because this is all about Break Machine. With such wonderful songs as Breakdance Party, Street Dance, Break Your Body Down, Let Your Body Move, and Breakdance Party Part 2. So that's Break Machine. And this is from 84. So I was probably about 10 or 11 when I bought that. So that was the first record I ever bought. What's my favourite coloured vinyl? I hate coloured vinyl. You can't see if it's damaged. I'd never buy second-hand coloured vinyl. It's an annoyance, really. I want all my records to be black. That's what they should be. I also hear that they're not as good quality, some of them. I understand the clear ones are okay, the white ones are okay, but some of the others are a bit dodgy. So I don't really like. I do have them. I've got I don't know, 10 or so. I've got a Franklin Mint collection of country stuff, which is on this sort of rather nice, deep, iridescent burgundy red. That looks quite nice, and you can still see if it's damaged, so that's not bad. But yeah, don't really like those. What is a discount record I own? These. All of these, 98% probably of my records are second hand. So if we're going to call those discount, they're discount. Yeah, that's just the way I roll. What is your prized possession? I'd probably say that Stan Kenton record that was my dad's, although I have no idea how he got it. He might have, for all I know, he got it, I don't know, sometime in the 1980s, but I like to think it was something he had for a while. But seeing as I've done that, I'll show original Scott 4 by Scott Walker. I picked up, it was one of those days of the great record haul, when I went into a record shop and bought Scott Walker's first 5 solo albums, originals, for 50p each. So yeah, it's probably my favourite album of his. It's got some really groovy tunes on it, and yeah, that's my, did I say, yeah, prized possession. Yeah, okay, we'll go with that. A record by a female artist. I'm a bit surprised you even have to have that as a category. Okay, so Kelly Hogan. This is I Like to Keep Myself in Pain. I'm a big fan of Kelly Hogan. This is an album she released in 2012. She is a soulful country singer. Beautiful voice. If you haven't heard her, she is wonderful. She's sung live with all kinds of people, like Iron and Wine, the Decemberists, Nico Case. In fact, I saw her live with Nico Case, and she set off the fire alarms in the venue when she went off for a shower and left the door open. Yeah, so and this is a great album. It's a collection of songs that were written specifically for her by friends. So we have, who's on here? Andrew Bird does one for her. Robin Hitchcock does one for her. John Langford, Stephen Merritt, Vic Chestnut. I think one of the last songs probably before he died. Yeah, so that's a lovely album, and it is an album by a lady. A record by my favourite band. Ask me any other time and I'll probably show you a different one. It could be any number of any bands, so I just thought I'd pick one at random, really, and I'd go with Calexico, The Black Light. This is their second album from, was it 2000? 1998. Great kind of spaghetti western country, It's a soundtrack to a film that never existed. If you haven't heard Calexico, I would say go and listen to Calexico. This is their second album, and probably my favourite of theirs, mainly because I suppose it's the one I first heard. Okay, an impulse buy. Let's show Public Library by The Burning Hell. I heard a song on either Spotify or YouTube called Fuck the Government, I Love You. And I thought, hey, that's good. I wonder what the album sounds like. So I went and ordered it. And they're a bit hipstery, I suppose. But this is what, from last year. Yeah, they're a bit hipstery, but I don't really mind that. They've got good songwriting. They sound a little bit like the Mountain Goats, if you're familiar with them. But yeah, nice album. A gift. Okay. My girlfriend Louise used to buy me records for my birthday and Christmas. She suddenly realised that she's just feeding an addiction now and has stopped doing it. Unfortunately. But back in the heyday, when I loved her, only joking, she bought me Mogwai Le Revenant, the soundtrack to the Returned TV show, not to be confused with the Revenant film, which I still haven't seen. Must see that. Great Mogwai soundtrack. Yeah, she bought me that. Thank you, Louise. I love you very much. Not that she watches these. I'm not even sure she's a subscriber. Most played record. That would probably be Dodgy, the Dodgy album. I think released in something like 92 or 3. This was their debut album, and I will go to my grave saying that this album is a defining indie pop record of the 90s, and it shits all over a lot of the stuff from the Britpop era. I know they were part of the Britpop era with good era, but this was great. If you like The Who, if you like kind of jangly Stone Roses stuff, you should listen to it. I think it's a great album. Songs like Grand Old English Oak Tree and Stand By Yourself and Never Again. They're brilliant songwriters, great harmonies. I will go to my grave praising this band. So it's probably the most played record I own. I might put it on now, actually. Okay, a rarity. I don't really have rarities. Most of my records are mainstream. I mean, I suppose they're niche. I mean, but they're still being produced in their thousands. I suppose I've got some stuff that I picked up at gigs by support acts, which I suppose they'll have a low press run. I don't think you say a press run, do you? But clearly, that doesn't necessarily make them a rarity just because there aren't that many of them. They're not really sought after, and people don't really want them. Anyway, this is one I chose, and this is Ghost World by Bookhouse. And this is, again, it's something I picked up at a gig by a support band. It's by a guy, Paul Fonfara is the guy behind this. He's a kind of a session player who's played with everyone and sort of indie rock and things over the last sort of 20 years. And this is a album. It's a jazz trio of drums, bass, and clarinets and electronics and stuff, with singing, and it's collection of music from Twin Peaks. So I couldn't afford to buy the Twin Peaks re-releases because they're just ridiculously expensive. So I'll make do with my jazz trio version by Bookhouse. It's worth listening to. I think it might be on Spotify. You might be able to get a record of it. I don't know. It might not be that rare. Okay. A Rainy Day record. Let's go with that. The Tropicalia collection. Yeah, can't go wrong with a bit of psychedelic Brazilian pop rock. That's going to make any rainy day feel a lot better. Just put that on and you'll even forget it's raining. Probably go sambering off into the distance. Pouring with rain. Okay, a feel-good album. Let's have Jimmy McGriff, Red Beans. Funky organ playing, jazzy funky, great stuff. Yeah, feel good. Instantly put that on, a funky groove, and I'm a happy chappy. Okay, we're on the last couple. A nostalgic record. So I've chosen the Superman soundtrack, Superman the movie. First film I ever saw at the cinema in Manchester, back when it came out in, 78? And the music just takes me back. You know, John Williams' score, marvellous stuff. Probably more than the Star Wars stuff, actually. This is, you know, I mean, I suppose it was maybe also having that Jeff Love in his orchestra version of it. But yeah, nostalgia. Then we've got a record store day purchase. Now, I don't really do record store day. I don't really like it. I find it overpriced. I'm not going to moan about it. But I have done some of that. But I thought I'd show a 7-inch Willie Nelson, Roll Me Up and Smoke Me When I Die, with Snoop Dogg and Chris Christopherson, and a solo version on the other side. Actually, I think that's a coloured vinyl. There you go. So that can be the coloured vinyl. That's my favourite one. Today it's my favourite one. So yeah, there's a record store day 7-inch. Okay, and a recent purchase, the last one. I've got a few stuff actually recently, and I thought I'd go with this box set. Scott Joplin, the complete works. My mum's a huge fan of Scott Joplin. I've just been buying her some records actually for her to play on her Crossley. She loves it. And yeah, I paid £1 for that, and it's great. I like a bit of ragtime, and I'd like to hear some more ragtime, but until I hear some other artists, Scott Joplin will do. Okay, there you go. I will finish there. That was fun, wasn't it? Nod your head and say, yes, Hedley, that was fun. Okay, you can go now. Bye-bye.